Hoop Dreams, the podcast, an Unlearning Network production.
Joining us today, many consider, a legend in the shoe game, the sneaker world, absolutely. Designed shoes for Reebok, Adidas, and One, Skechers, Protege, had a big role in the Reebok Shaq shoe, Reebok Blacktop, some of my favorites, the Iversons, the Questions. He's responsible for designing footwear and apparel for And One. The designer for the KG3, the one and only joining us today on the Hoop Dreams podcast is Dallas Stokes. I'm one of your hosts, Will Gates, and that's my dog,
Arthur Agee.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Well, we're gonna jump right into this thing, man, because
All right. I'm ready.
First question, man, we ask everybody this question, and that is, when was the first time you saw Hoop Dreams, and where were you?
Man, we talking the VHS days.
Yes, sir.
I think I was probably like going from high school, from grammar school into high school is the first time I saw it. And it was crazy because it was like I tell you guys sometimes, it was the first reality show that we ever really had. And we sat and we watched that movie over and over, almost until the tape popped, as they say. But it was crazy. It was crazy because to see guys like us, when I say guys like us, like Chicago dudes and everything, in a movie, and it was really you guys. Yeah. This wasn't like no basketball film like that. The documentary part of it, we didn't really get that or understand that as much, because back in the day, we only had like Channel 32, Channel 9, Channel 5, so it was
that's real Chicago there.
We saw a movie, WGN, on a Sunday with the vampire lady and all that. Sun is
You're going way back. My goodness.
So we see this and we like, they got a movie. Like that was just so dope. So dope. So I'd have to say between those years, like going 8th grade, going into, because the summer of 8th grade, I was going into high school. That summer we played a lot of basketball. I don't know what it was about that summer, but we played ball every single day. And, I used to jump out the back of the gym. I had a 43-inch vertical. And
of course.
In high school, I had like a 43-inch vertical. I remember I went to work for Adidas, and they put us through what they put the athletes through to test them. And they was like, Dallas, see what you can hit. And I hit that 43, and everybody was like, because I'm not a tall dude, I'm probably like 5'9", But it inspired me, man. I thank you guys all the time, but it truly inspired me.
Keep that flowing. You was talking a little bit into it. You was leading into it. How did it impact Dallas Stokes, the young man at the time, going into your life right now? How did Hoop Dreams impact you?
It's funny because, like I said, to see you guys and just think they have a movie, it helped make me believe that things can be true and can come real. And it also helped me by seeing the things that happened to you guys when things didn't work out. How it was handled and how you guys bounced back was important, for me. My oldest son, he's not into basketball like that, but my younger son, I definitely want to sit down and watch it with him, because he's knocking baseballs. 7 years old, he's knocking baseballs across, entire parking lot. Empty parking lot. Yeah, he I got a tape of him on my Instagram just cracking the bat. But
really?
I'm teaching. Oh yeah, I'm teaching. I'm trying to teach him structure. I'm starting through the video games in order to teach him structure and how to work on a team. And I need him to sit down probably when he's about 10 years old and watch this with me, so he can see, you think you go to the pros, or you think you're the best ball player here, or you think this, you think that. This is the struggle that you have to put in. And it really, and watching the work ethic and how you guys graded up and how you went through injuries. And it was like, that's something that I think every athlete has dealt with in some way, shape, or form. It's important for me to show my kids stuff like Hoop Dreams, movies like Hoop Dreams. You know what I mean? It meant so much because I was in Chicago. So everybody that hooped in Chicago knew what it was. You know what I mean? And that was amazing.
The Shy, baby.
Yeah, man. I was in the crib. I was like, yo, they got a movie and they shot it at the crib. Like, I know where he at. Like,
right.
He was on the train headed to school, and I was like, yo, I done seen that building behind it. Good.
Hey, speaking of your Chicago and you know, coming up here and everything, you know, what did you come from a big family? Like you have sisters and brothers?
Oh yeah. No, I had a great family, man. My younger brother Damon, I spent most of my life with him. But Damon and Charlie and Derek and you know, all my brothers and sisters, we had a solid little thing, man. It was good.
Where you line up on that chart?
I'm in the middle.
You in the middle?
Oh, you the middle baby, so you didn't get diapers on Wednesdays.
I was lucky if I got diapers. You better put them paper towels.
Hey, Dallas.
My grandmother, and that was another source of inspiration, God rest, was my grandmother, man. She worked at Weebolt's, then she would work at the Pancake House. She would always come home late night. And this is why I'm always courteous to like service people that, you know, your waiters and everything, because I saw how her tips actually impacted the house. Because she'd come in, she'd sit down, she'd talk about her day, she'd put the change on the table. We got the fives or we got the singles and the rest went to the rent and stuff. You know, so
Wow.
the work ethic was crazy watching her growing up. And then she went to the CTA for 30 years. So I've always been surrounded by, I mean, there's nothing but strong women in my family. I've always been my aunt on Soul Queen, the restaurant up 79th and Stony. You know, so I've always been surrounded by strong women and women that put work ethic in front of me. And that's why I'm so grateful to have the work ethic I have. And it's transferred to my kids. You know, I got one that's graduating Georgia State with honors. I'm so proud of him. I got another one. She's going to meet the president in a few days.
What's his name? What's his name?
That's Tyson.
Tyson, shout out to Tyson, Georgia State graduate. We want to shout him out, man. That's big time there, man. Absolutely. We're going to give him his.
You got a son that's a graduate, man. College. That's amazing, Dallas.
Crazy.
Hey, Dallas, you know you from Chicago, man. You said we boats. You know you from Chicago. You said we boats. Now that's a story I ain't heard in I don't know how long. I said, did he say we boats? but listen, man. I want you to take us back to the beginning. Give us, because one of the things that Agee and I like to do, man, on this show is like we want you to tell your story. What's the origin story of Dallas Stokes?
As far as getting into the business, or just
no, just you, man. Where did you grow up? What was your neighborhood like? What was life for you growing up?
Man, the memories I remember was like from the fourth grade. I can't remember much. I'm getting old now. Sometimes I can't remember last week. But I grew up in Lake Grove Village on 35th and Cottage Grove mostly. We spent a lot of years over there. We lived in 2 buildings over there. You know, and I like I say, I lived with my grandmother and my mother for a while. And my little brother, and we moved down into 811, which was our apartment, you know, and you know, I grew up around everything. I went to Holy Angels, you know, coming up as in grade school. So I grew up around the gang stuff and the El Rook. I was there the day they took the El Rookin building out. I saw that.
Really?
You know what I mean? I had to walk
like
to that
demolished
bus.
it? Like demolished it? Like brought it down?
Yeah, that too. But when they ran up in it, it was like we come walking down the street and there's cop cars all around, and you know, so you know, I grew up around everything, man, and you know, just by the grace of God, made the right choices. So then at about I'd say we moved when maybe out to 118th and Laughlin. We stayed somewhere on 73rd or 67th or something for a while too, but or 81st. I can't remember. Like I say, but I went to a couple of different high schools.
Before you get to the high school, where did the basketball, like what are the sports? Did you also play other sports, baseball and stuff like that? Like where did that start at?
I never had an interest in anything but basketball. I
Really?
truly didn't. I tried to play football when I was in grammar school, And I also tried out again when I got to high school, but I got hit so hard that I did a 360 and landed. And then when I tried out for baseball, when I tried out for baseball, I broke my arm sliding into first base. So it was, and that was a growing arm. Yeah,
you must really want to get on base, huh?
Yeah, I didn't know you're not supposed to slide in the first base. Nobody told me. Basketball, the worst I had to worry about was turning my ankle. And back then, we just like tie the shoe up tighter and keep it going. You know, like,
keep it going, keep it moving.
That was cool. You know, it was like, but no, I never had any interest in any other sport. Basketball has always been just like, it's just been a voice in my head, man. I mean, even when I first started drawing Michael Jordan and cats like that on people's jeans and their shirts. And I used to work down at Andy Fran during the summers and Bulls games. And I'll tell you.
There you go again. He said Andy Fran.
Yes, I was an usher.
That's right.
Where was Andy Fran offices at?
I don't know. I just went to the stadium, went to work, man. Got my.
It was by William
That's
Gates.
Right. It was by Cabrini.
You're by Cabrini on Chicago Avenue.
Chicago Avenue, man. You get right off the train. It was sitting right there.
Sitting right there, yeah.
But you know, it's funny. I remember where the real love came from. My mom used to work for this print circuit board company or something. Her boss had season tickets to the Bulls, and my mom loved Dominique Wilkins. So every time the Hawks came to town, my mom would take me and my little brother to the Bulls game. That was before Andy Fran, any of that. And so I would get Michael Jordan and Dominique. And I think it was because it was my mom and that sort of thing, you know, and my brother, and that was a nice family time, you know, to get to go to a game when you grow up in, you know, off 35th Cottage Grove, you know what I mean? It's like to get to a Bulls game and see them lights and that spectacle, man, is amazing. So that's where I think the love for basketball was triggered. And then my dad, ultimate basketball head, even though he played football at Northwestern or Northeastern, one of them Norths. I could remember one day it was an all-star game, and I was just sitting next to my dad, and he's talking about the game, and then he got up and he turned it off. I was like, why are we watching it? So all that game's a blowout. We ain't gonna watch it. We'll go outside with this ball and I'm gonna show you the game. So that was, I don't know who was getting blown out. East or the West, I don't know who. But he was like, nah, we ain't watching this. I'm gonna show you the game. This ain't the game. These guys is rich. I was like, okay. Problem with me is I had a great right hand that could help me draw, but I had no left. No left.
At all.
No left. What was them high schools you went to? You was getting there.
Oh man, Finger, Thornridge, De La Salle.
Goodness.
I know it's one more. I can't remember what it was though, but yeah. Thornridge is where I really flourished, so to speak. You know, because
you used up all your high school eligibility, didn't you?
Right. What year was that you started to flourish?
That was like 90, 91, 92. I graduated in 93, but my sophomore and junior year, it was because for a time, we still lived in the city. So I would have to catch the bus all the way out to Dalton every morning. I'd have to get up at like 5 a.m., be out the door by 6 to be up at the school and be in school at 9. We finally ended up officially moving, you know, out there, which I probably shouldn't have said that, but statute of limitations, I'm okay. Yeah, when I got to Thornridge and I saw at the time, it was a whole different world. You know, I was surrounded by like, you know, white kids, a few black kids. I went to school actually with D. Ray Davis, the comedian.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I give him a hard time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, crazy D. Ray, man. So yeah, I was able to focus more and learn more. I didn't play basketball or anything there because I went out for trials, but coach was like, look, I already got the team. I'm only doing this because I'm supposed to. But he was like, you don't have it. You're not going to be there. Like, I was like, oh, okay, well, you know. So I played in church leagues. I played outside. I played in anything I could play in. But
so he didn't. The coach didn't even see your jumping ability. He was just like, no, I got my squad set. Like,
He didn't care. He was like, I was tiny too, man. Like he didn't care. I was like John Paxson, but couldn't shoot.
But couldn't shoot.
And you know, we all had that busted form for a while because we watched Mike shoot all the time.
That Statue of Liberty jump shot.
Yeah, man. I took years off my career trying to copy that man's form. But I can come with it. I can jump. I can come under the basket, finger roll, do all the stuff that he do, you know, in the highlights. I tried all of it. I remember my first dunk was at Cooper Park. And we was actually playing Killer and R. Kelly's brother. And R. Kelly came on the court. And we played with them a few rounds. And my boy Gooch, he laid it up. And I ran and I just took off. And I just I tip dunked it. Because they had been trying to get me to dunk for like months, you know, because they knew I could. And I could if it was like a Nerf ball or something on a 9-foot rim. But we know the rims in Chicago on the streets like 10 feet, 11 feet sometimes.
Easy.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Easy.
Gooch laid it up and it missed. It bounced back. And I just came back and was like, boom. And everybody was like, did he dunk? Nah, that's goaltending. He ain't. They was like, nah, you don't get that little man that.
They went from did he dunk to it's goaltending?
It's goaltending.
The whole game stopped. Because you see this little scrawny kid. Well, at that time, I was kind of buff, but you see this little kid go, bow. And everybody was like, wait a minute, nah, it was on the rim. And I was like, oh, whatever, dude, that's two.
And what was the name of that park?
That was Cooper. That was either Cooper Park or Ada Park. That was out.
I wanted to ask you about that too, man. Growing up, what playgrounds did you hit? Because you know Chicago is legendary for outdoor basketball courts. Yeah. Where you play at?
I used to go down to Rainbow, and then we lived off of 35th. As soon as you cross the tracks, I can't remember the name of the park, but as soon as you cross the tracks, the Amtrak tracks that's closer to the water, there was a court there. But mainly, man, Ada and Cooper Park was where I played a lot. You know, even when we moved out to the suburbs, I'd come back over there just to play over there because I felt safe. I knew everybody in the neighborhood. You know, when you journey around and start playing, you got to worry about who you know and who you don't know. You know, and we had went to, I remember we was talking about this not too long ago, whatever that court that was over there by Dunbar. It was one inside and there was one outside. So a few places, but I knew I felt like I could play. You know what I mean? And enjoy myself without the craziness.
When did this creativity, where did that come from? Because you was talking about you was drawing for, you know, Jordan on people, backpacks and jeans. Where did that love begin to flourish? Because if sports was the thing, how'd you even have time to pick that up? Or was it just always there?
Nah, people started paying me. So
there you go. There you go.
Once I realized I could make money off of it.
Hustling.
Right.
What you need a Spider-Man on? Right. I said, what you need a Spider-Man on your shoulder? All right, they're gonna be $400.
It was more like 40, but 40 was a lot. I do about I got some Jordans. I'm good, you know.
Right.
No, I honestly, that's what it was. I was drawing all the time, and it just came down to people started paying me. And when they started paying me, I was like, yo, this is better than anything. I could sit at home, draw this on their stuff, and then get money that way as opposed to, you know, trying to sell dope. And it worked out that way. It worked out real well.
That's crazy.
And
you know what?
does this go back as far as grade school? You were doing this in grade school through high school?
Oh, yeah. In the 4th grade, I had a comic book company. I'd make comic books, sell them to the kids in school, trying to get their little lunch money so I could give me some extra potato chips outside on the block. I started doing that. And then actually how I got into the business, balling, I got into the business was they had a drafting class where we were supposed to be drawing houses and blueprints and stuff like that. I drew a shoe, I'll never forget it, called the Air Flight Shabazz. And it was a shoe that I had did for Scottie Pippen, and I had Pippen on there, his face, I had the shoe. I was doing double stack airbags back in the day, and people thought I was crazy. So the art teacher, she actually put it up, and Rodney had came out, and he saw it, and he was like, yo, I got to talk to this kid. I got to talk to him. So they would come up to the school. Him and his old partner would come to the school looking for me. And so like at that time, when you got cats that look like that looking for you after school every day, the first thing on my head is, man, I got to stop selling this weed. Man, this is dangerous. They didn't come all the way out to the suburbs for me. Like, what am I doing here? One day I was just like, you know what? Like, I'm just going to have to face the music and see what these cats want. And I went out there and they was sitting around their fancy cars and started Mercedes with the Testarossa kit and all that stuff. And he's like, nah, man, we want to hire you to draw for balling. I was like, okay.
Get out of here.
So my first
have you even heard of balling by this time?
A little bit, but I knew more about Get Paid than balling. Get Paid was kind of out there more.
Yeah. So, What year was this?
This was 93. This was a year before I graduated. The year I graduated.
You just graduated in high school. So these cats come up to you. We want you to design, because we putting together a gym shoe line. What was you thinking? What were you thinking?
It's funny. What ended up happening was while I was working for Ballin, I was also working in Nike Town, Chicago.
Really?
Yeah. I was in the stock room at Nike Town. So I'm drawing shoes and I'm sending them in to Nike, and I get caught drawing shoes on my lunch break. I'm getting yelled at. They actually didn't have the job. When I went down there and met Stuart Nishikawa. He was running Nike Town at that time, Chicago. And I just showed him my art, my portfolio and everything. And he was like, well, I can't help you with that, but at least I can get you in the door. So he hired me when they didn't even have a position to hire, to be in the stock room. And I kept sending in stuff. And this is a hilarious story. I would send the drawings in, no reply, anything. I would call out to Oregon, couldn't get through. So finally one day I said, yo, look, I'm going to call Phil Knight. So I called Phil Knight's office. And his secretary, God bless her, whoever she was at the time, I called her and I go, hey, I'd like to speak to Mr. Knight. And she says, who are you? And I said, I'm Nike's next $1 million man. And she put him through.
What?
Yes. So I go on this whole crazy spill about how I'm going to change Nike and I'm going to draw this Nike stuff. And then he cuts me off and he says, I don't do the hiring, right? I was like, but that was my spill.
Right. So, I got to ask you, though, when she put you through, was you sitting there saying, like, this worked?
No, I knew it was going to work. That's
really?
Yeah, I knew. That's how, like I said, when we was kids, we either knew we was going to go pro because we was playing ball, or we knew whatever we really wanted to be. And if you just stick to it, which is what I teach my children, you can do anything you want to do. You know what I mean? All you got to put forth is the initiative. And they learn that. And they're better at me with it. So I love them for it. And I'm so proud of them. Like I say, my little girl is going to West Point next year, and she's going to meet with the president on the 25th through the 30th of this month. She's headed out to she's the ROTC cadet of the year. And
what's her name?
Leah.
I want to send a shout out to Leah. West Point. First of all, that's the real deal there, man. Everybody don't get in West Point.
No.
I mean, she killing it.
You got to be cut from some different cloth.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man.
Yes,
but
sir. Shout out.
Mentally and physically.
Yeah. And she's a track star. She's running track and everything.
Oh, shit. She finished up with her stuff. She'll put together a gun in 2 minutes and then go do a sprint around the track and be done with homework. Ready for chow in the mess hall. Wow.
Yeah, no,
hey, man. I want to ask you about, man, this Nike Town, knowing that you work there. So, man, I know you got some stories of some athletes coming on up in there, man, just grabbing gear and running out the store. Are them stories true?
Yeah. Michael Jordan's office was directly across the street from Nike Town. So they would just take boxes at a time over there sometimes. I remember one night we shut the whole store down. So Juanita and Marcus and Jeffrey could shop. And, so I had an opportunity to see a lot when I was there. A whole lot. And then entertainers would come in all the time anyway, because it was Nike Town. So it was, and then when teams would come to town, some of the teams would come in. and we'd get to see athletes. But, you know, we had to maintain a professional kind of way about us. We couldn't run up and ask them for pictures. Well, we didn't have it like that back then. You know, back then you had the box camera that you had to.
Right.
That's
and
right.
hope the flash don't work. Hold on, the flash
Right.
don't work, like the athlete would be gone. So it was.
That's right. That's right.
I think the craziest thing I saw though was at one point we had a statue of these white statues of all the players, and Michael Jordan's statue was right when you came in the door. And they put Jordans on the statue, actual Jordans on the statue, and people kept stealing the Jordans off the statue.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah,
In
so
the
we had to
window?
put a big old glass like thing in front of the Jordan that was hanging from the wall. We had to put a big old glass because they kept stealing his Jordans.
So hey, let me back on this call with Phil Knight though. You get him on the phone and you tell him like, "Lozo, this is my spiel," and he says, "You know I don't do the hiring."
Right.
Did he say, "Okay, well, call this person"? And did he give you another person who do the hiring, or how did that go?
No, he did. He directed me to the person to talk to, and they basically were like, "You're a kid. You need to go to school for like industrial design for 4 years and do all this other stuff, and then we can talk about you working at Nike and design." So basically, I got the nice blow off. So I was like, "Okay, You know what? I'm gonna call Reebok." So and that's
You was a gangster sneakerhead, dude. You like,
I called Reebok and Paul Fireman. I called Paul Fireman's office and I ran the same game. I get on the phone with him, and this is where it all changed. Paul Fireman was a great guy. He used to be the president of Reebok. He said, "Listen, here's the deal. I got this group out of Denver called 2 Hype. They're designing for this kid, Shaquille O'Neal. And we were doing all the design stuff for Shaquille O'Neal, except for the shoes. That was E. Scott Morris at the time. And they put me in touch with E. They put me in touch with 2 Hype and the owner of 2 Hype, Chris Christmas, my big brother, love him. He basically, I called his house every day for a month straight, every day. And his wife would be like, "He's not here. It's too late, blah, blah, blah." So finally his wife told him, "If you don't hire this dude, I'm going to kill both of you." So he started working with me and filtering things, through to me. And he gave me the pleasure of meeting E. Scott Morris, one of the greatest footwear designers in the industry ever. He's presently right now overseas working on Wilson product, but he went over there to do Anta. But that dude has done more legendary stuff than me. And he took me under his wing, and he basically, would send me stuff to work on to perfect my craft and things of that nature. And then, like I say, we were handling all the Shaq stuff. So getting an opportunity to meet Shaq and hang out with him. And Shaq is one of the most genuine, amazing guys you'll ever want to meet in your life. I remember a quick story. I remember that he used to come into the meetings, and he's 7 feet tall. He's Shaq. He's big. So he would sit down at the table, and he's still big and intimidating. So when he started sitting with me in meetings and things, he would slump down like this in the back and kick his legs out. And one day I asked him, I was like, "Yo, man, you all right? Your back all right? Because I need to know I'm designing the shoes. I need to know." He said, "Nah, man." He's like, "Me and you was boys. So I sit like this so me and you can be on the eye level." And I always appreciate it. That's the kind of guy he is. He's genuinely what you see on TV is what he was around me and what I saw.
So you wind up getting a job. You wind up getting a job by being obnoxious to someone's wife. And the wife, that's what you just said, man. Like, you got a job from being obnoxious to somebody's wife, and she said, "If you don't hire this guy, I'm gonna kill both of y'all." and then that led you into Shaq and all this and all that. That's a beautiful story, bro.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man.
So what was that first day like, though, man? She get you hired. She ain't got to kill you, like Agee said. So what was that first day like? Like, was your mind like, "Man, this is real. I'm about to kill it"? Like, what was the first day like for you?
Oh, that was the mindset I had. I had all these drawings. I was go in here and I was go blow up the world. And the first day they had me working on stuff with the copier. making copies for people and everything. They grounded me real fast. Like, what you're gonna do. So I had to go through that whole thing for months. I had to go through just being the support to this guy Paul, who's an amazing designer. I think he's at Levi's now. I may be wrong. I don't know. But Paul was amazing. And I would sit and just basically, if he said, do this or do that, I'd do that until I got to a point where, he was comfortable with seeing my drawings and everything. So I had to work like really hard in order just to be.
Can you speak to that a little bit more, especially for our viewers, listening, man, and an opportunity to see this. Speak to that, earning your glory. Shout out to earning your glory out there, but speak to earning that, man, because a lot of times people think kind of like how you thought, man, listen, I got a vision. I'm going to run with it. I'm going to get in here and do what I do and take off. And they like, make sure it's 2 extra cups of sugar and cream in that coffee. Speak to that. Like, what kept you motivated?
What kept me motivated was knowing what I was a part of. Two Hype was the first African-American, because also I was working on Two Hype stuff. They were the first African-American brand to merge streetwear with licensed goods. We had a deal with Salem. So we were making Two Hype. So, it was, I knew that this was the big leagues, that this was the real deal. Or so I felt at that time. This was the big leagues. This was the real deal. And I'll roll into, once you get to an Adidas or and one or a Nike, how things change. But also, I was transported from Chicago to Denver. So it was a culture shock. But everybody in the office, except for one person, was Black. So they helped kind of make me understand that in this industry, and even to this day, this industry is not fair at all. And you got to work for everything you get. I remember one company I sold like 1 million pairs of shoes from them. And the next month they called me and was like, yo, we don't like the new stuff we saw. We can't figure this out. We're going to have to look at doing business in a different way. And I was like, wow. Okay. I was like, really? Word?
Wow.
So I took another job. I went to Skechers for like 8 years. So,
wow.
Yeah, it once you know, like you got Shaq coming in the office, you're going to these big meetings, in New York and other places. And then we did the Olympic. We were the first Black-owned company to get an Olympic license for clothing. So we did the 96 Olympics. We had our own Olympic gear that I did some work on that. So I'm sitting here, a kid from Chicago, I'm making Olympic stuff and Shaq stuff. And so it was knowing that, I had made it in my mind, I had made it, kept me motivated.
And that was the Olympic stuff in '96. Was that in what was that Olympics at?
That was
here, wasn't it?
I think it was in Atlanta. It was in Atlanta, right?
Yep.
In '96. So in '96, you're actually, is it what all the athletes were wearing? Like the jackets, was it just certain stuff you guys did?
Yeah, it was just, we were doing certain stuff. It was just gear that they were selling in collections. Like, when we got the official book from the Olympics back, our stuff was in there. And then we had another property called USGL Basketball, United States Ghetto League. And I designed the logo and some of the gear and stuff. And that was the first time we did an ad in Sports Illustrated. And they didn't tell me this was happening. So I designed this ad, not knowing it was going in Sports Illustrated. And they brought the Sports Illustrated in the office and they opened it. And there's my drawing in Sports Illustrated. That was the first magazine I ever had anything in. And man, I fell out in tears, man. I had to leave the office and go and pull myself.
Are you serious?
Yeah, man. It was Sports Illustrated. I was just blown away.
Do you remember what that ad surrounded? What went into that ad for them to make it like that? And then it was crazy why they didn't even tell you.
Well, they wanted to, it was a surprise thing.
Okay.
So yeah, it was a surprise thing, and they surprised me. It was
Man, to see some of your work.
You got Two Hype going.
Mm-hmm.
What soured that? Because this is still like, I'm sure you was thinking like, man, I'm working for, in all due respect, you're working with African Americans, y'all killing it, and then you're working with this major company. You killing it over there. What soured that?
Well, it's like I said at the beginning. The reality of the situation was, we as minorities still weren't treated fairly. So, when they had the opportunity to go off on their own and do their ventures the way, break away from Reebok, because we were doing so much work with Reebok, that we weren't paying attention to what we did. You know what I'm saying? So, we decided to break off and focus on what we did as a brand. And, that kind of didn't work out. Sometimes you make stuff and it can sell, other times you don't. So it didn't work out. And Too Hype kind of had to, scale down and do what it had to do. So I was kind of just floating in Denver, for about a year, just floating around trying to find my way. And then lo and behold, I got the call from Puma, which, that was a crazy thing. So Puma called me, told me, we want you to come in and work with this Vince Carter guy. And I was like, and work with basketball. So I moved to Brockton, Massachusetts. And as soon as I got there, the first day I got there, they were like, yeah, well, Vince is leaving the brand. I was like,
what?
Dude.
My first day at work. My first day at work was Vince's last. Grand opening,
man. I would have pulled out my billy club like this, like, yep, well, somebody finna fill this one today. Upside the head.
I was working in Brockton, Massachusetts. Everybody had billy clubs.
That's right.
Mess around the janitor him you up like Coming to America when he had that broom with Samuel L. Jackson.
Dude, they say, welcome to the company, but Vince is leaving. Vince is not gonna stay here. I know you like, what do you mean?
Man,
like I was strategically brought here to do this, to work on this man's stuff. Now this dude, y'all tell me he's leaving Puma? He's not gonna. But you know what? Vince Carter, agent, stole a lot of money from him. He the one wound up doing that deal for him.
Yeah, Shaq had some agent problems. They all do. You know what I mean? It's like at the end of the day, you trusted somebody else with your money, but I mean, he figured it out quick. So Shaq, that's why Shaq is Shaq. But Vince got knocked. Scotty got knocked. A bunch of players get knocked sometimes, man. That's the sad part of the business. It is a business.
And it's crazy that when you say that, is that these guys, the ones who supposed to be representing them in these deals, come off to them like they friend. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, it ain't never show friends. It's always show business. You know what I'm saying? Like, it ain't never like, oh, I'm gonna get so tight with him and all this that he's gonna trust me, and then I'm just gonna take him for everything. Like, I just don't understand that. Like, how would those type of guys even be sucked into this fake friendship of this guy to even be able to? It's just crazy.
I was able to see a lot of agents and players' relationships, and I know a few agents, and for every one that does care, like you got to see Lamont Smith who cared about his guys. You got Tony Ferroni over here that this is a business. He's taking the kids' money and he's telling them, hey, don't put your money, invest your money into a clothing brand or something like that. Put it in a strip mall in Kentucky, because he's got like his interests going. And so he's trying to tell you, this is how you become a millionaire. You put your money into this. You know what I mean? So I saw that a lot. These guys, these agents have their own dealings as well. And they use that money from these kids. And they're already getting a percentage. Then they'll come back and say, hey, look, $500,000 more into this. You're not paying me. You're paying. Yeah, and they believe it. And they go and take that deal, not knowing that you're putting it into money that he's putting it into. They're circulating your money. Like, it's a crazy thing out there, but we're not educated in the game like that, because at that time, coming out of high school and going to the pros was the first thing you did if you had the opportunity, and you didn't go to Duke or North Carolina or Georgia State or, whatever, and learn about business. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, so you don't know.
Hoop. That's the reality. You went there to hoop.
So it also,
you got a college education.
Right. So look, I'm peeping it. I'm coming in from a mind standpoint of, well, it almost like you got to get ganked to even know the business.
You do.
Like, if, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're going to have take an L somewhere.
You will. I mean, it's a constant. It has to happen. If it doesn't happen to you, it's going to happen to somebody on your team. Look at Mike and Scotty. You know how that whole thing played out. You know what I mean? There's no way in the world it should have went like that, but the L was taken. You know what I mean? And you learned after from that. You know, everybody else. Tony came in and got his money after that. So it's like,
Absolutely. It's kind of like the Hoop Dream story. We took the L, and all the other documentaries getting big money. Right. So, but I want to ask you this though, man. From Reebok to Puma, give us the gear that you designed though. What were the things you worked on?
A lot of stuff I worked at Puma never came out because the funny part of that story is after Vince left, so did I. So it was like,
there it is.
That was funny. Yeah. I had a great relationship with Foot Locker at the time. They loved me. I had met with them a couple of times with Puma and other things, so they loved me. And I actually told someone at Foot Locker what happened, and they were the ones that called Adidas and was like, listen, this Dallas kid, you need to really get him. And a guy named Peter Moore and another guy named Paul Gaudio were very instrumental in bringing me out to Portland to work for Adidas. And at the time, they were bringing in Kobe, Jermaine, O'Neal, and Tracy McGrady. So they thought it would be good to have someone who could speak more to their language and things and how they were. So they yanked me out of Puma real fast. But Puma, I do have a shoe. I don't know if it's still something, but it's sold for years, called the Puma Dallas. And I didn't design it, but what happened was at the time, the Air Force One was going like crazy. Like you couldn't keep them in the store. So Puma wanted a version of the Air Force One. So one of the designers made it and they brought it to my desk and they were like, what do you think this is going to be? The Air Force One, a guy named Tony Bertone. He's like, this is going to be the Air Force One of Puma. I was like, man, if you don't get that junk off my desk, man. I would never. Well, just for that, I'm going to call it the Dallas. You can do whatever you want as long as you're doing it over there. And that's how I got my first signature shoe. And
that's all right.
Never got.
Here's the question: Do you still got a pair of them?
No, never would wear that shoe. I wasn't wear that.
So you ain't wearing your signature shoe?
Hey, look, I wasn't getting no royalties.
So look, Dallas, when you said that, I'm going back into my Rolodex of sneaker history, and I'm trying to find, because I think Puma put these shoes out.
They did for years.
Like they tried to. They was all white.
Mm-hmm.
They was all white, and I'm thinking the front of them was a round toe, and did it have the holes?
Yeah.
It had the holes on the front. That's the one I'm talking about there. Yeah.
If you go on my Instagram, my by Dallas Stokes Instagram, the whole story is in there with the pictures of the shoe. They were black and it was white. Both of them had gold letters on it.
And how did they do?
I'm looking at it right now. Actually, man, they still selling those shoes.
Get out of here, Will.
Man, I'm looking at them right now.
You see that L we were talking about?
Yeah, it got the gold on the got the Puma in gold. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
You see that L we was talking about? That was my first one.
You said that's your first one?
Ain't get no money off of it.
Oh man!
But,
yeah, I do remember when they came out with those. Yeah, Dallas, this is what we want to do, man, because there's some other things we want to talk to you and ask you about. Okay. But Agee and I, man, we got this thing called halftime. Okay. Halftime, man, we gonna hit you with some quick hitters, and we want to see what you say.
All right.
So the first one is, man, top 3 favorite sneakers of all time.
Jordan 9. There was a shoe by E. Scott. I can't remember the name. It was a Reebok shoe. Oh, Kamikaze. Jordan 9, the Kamikaze 2. And I'd have to say that, that's a hard one. Oh, no, it's a new shoe that's out. I think it's a New Balance shoe. I got it around here somewhere. But I love that shoe, like, to death. So those are my top 3.
Man, so the new shoe done hopped up in the top 3 already, huh?
Oh, it's an amazing shoe. I love the shoe. Wait a minute. Matter of fact, hold on. There it is. Give me 1 second. I'm getting.
You say it's by New Balance?
I absolutely adore and love this joint. I got like different colors.
Oh, that's tight there.
I love this is the Levi's version, but I don't wear these as much because I like to keep them clean. But I got black ones, red ones, green ones.
So is that's a collaboration that New Balance did with Levi's?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, those were hard to find. I had to track them down.
So if you could pick 2 sneakers to start your collection with, what would they be?
Definitely that Jordan 9. That thing changed a lot of my life as far as how I looked at shoes and design. Oh, not the 9, I'm sorry, the 11. The patent leathers was the 11, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Patent leathers changed how I just looked at basketball shoes. And the 3 was a pretty hard hitter for me. I love the 3. But yeah, definitely the patent leathers.
You see what I got behind me?
Yeah. That's real favorite. That's real favorite.
Yes, sir.
Them threes, man. Them
Man,
threes.
3 wasn't nothing like them boys.
Man. How many shoes you own, man?
You know, it's funny. This is the most shoes I've owned. I think I got like 15 pairs right now. This is the most I've ever owned in my life.
Really?
Yeah.
The shoe bag.
I would have more, but down here down here where I live, like we got some homeless people. So after I wear them around a little bit, I might kick a pair out here or there to the homeless homies and, make sure they looking right. Yeah, I can't have them rolling up down my block looking off. Like, come on now.
Hit them, Will.
I found out they were selling them for drugs, and I was like, oh, I can't give you no more shoes, man.
This a heavy hitter here, man.
I'm ready.
Favorite top 3. Gosh, I'm gonna take you back since you shy. Favorite top 3 Chicago rappers.
Common, Ye, and Vince Merritt. I like the Vince kid, man.
Really?
I like that kid, man. I like some of his music. I do like. No, you know what? Who's the other one too, man? I love that kid. The one with the cap with the 3.
Chance the rapper.
Chance the rapper, man. Oh man, Chance is my favorite. I'm gonna say Common and Chance is neck and neck, man. I first heard Chance's album, and man, I just the spiritualness of it and the articulation. I was blown away by Chance, man. I thought, and then when I saw how he was doing his business and how he's handling his his music business, I had nothing but love and respect for him. Just like Common.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, I still call him Common Sense, but but Rashid got a degree.
There it is.
Look, if I hit you with this one, what are your favorite sneakers that you helped create?
Oh, without a doubt, the Dunk.net Chromes. That was Shaq's. He won his first championship in that shoe. So that was the first championship shoe I ever made. I've made a few. That was I don't know if I can say his name right now because he wasn't supposed to be doing it, but I got a chance to work with one of my mentors on that one. So that was my favorite. There was the Adidas Stokes mid. That was and the Chromium. Those were the first shoes I kind of did at Adidas. And I had like the whole design team, even training would come. My man Shane Ward would come out of training. I was working with David Race, who now owns Brand Black, James Carnes, Irie Lund Nielsen. All these guys would pull together and help me to make my shoes so I wasn't, didn't make any bombs, any duds. And we didn't have any duds. We came out swinging, man. Like,
really?
Oh, man, that Adidas basketball team did so much legendary stuff. There was a shoe called The Real Deal that David Race was working on. Antoine Walker wore it. It was the one where the 3 stripes went up the toe. Like, man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, them was crazy.
And he had that one done, and then he came back with The Real Deal 2. And that's when it looked like the shoe, it was like veins in the leather and it was lifted up.
Yeah.
I was like,
I remember that.
Oh my God. So
hit him, Will.
Hey, listen, favorite pieces, Chicago or New York?
Chicago.
I knew you was going to say Chicago.
Top 3 movies or TV shows of all time.
Hoop Dreams.
There we go. You got movies. All right. That's one. Give me 2 more.
Hoop Dreams. There was a movie with I can't think of the name. It was like Robin Williams, Ben Affleck, and Matt Damon. Good Will Hunting. I love Good Will Hunting.
Okay.
And one of them X-Men movies, man. My kid got me watching it. One of them, not X-Men, Avengers, like either Endgame or Infinity War. I can't remember the one, but it's the one before Tony Stark died at the end.
That's the Infinity War.
Yeah, no, you know what that was? It wasn't. It was Black Panther. It wasn't Infinity War, Avengers movie.
So it's Black Panther.
Yeah, it was Black Panther. But he was in the movie. No, he was in that Avengers movie. Remember I'm drawing a blank on which one.
Right, the Black Panther was in Infinity War.
Okay, Infinity War then. Okay.
Yeah, he was in that one. Yeah.
When he first showed up and he came out, dude killed his father.
Oh, when he first showed up.
Yeah,
that's the Captain America movie. That's Winter
Soldier.
Uh-huh.
I love me some Chad, man. Chad was a cool dude. I got an opportunity to be around him a couple of times, and Chad was a solid dude, man. Chad was both.
Yeah, man.
Very solid dude.
Rest in heaven, man. Gone way too soon.
Yeah. I'd see him walk around, man, and little kids, they get to do this with him, and it just made their day. And I've seen some actors and athletes that like really take dumps on little kids and break their hearts, man. But he was always graceful, just like the king that he played. So
beautiful. Rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman.
Absolutely. So here you are now, man. You're successful in the career game. You went from Reebok to Hype, Pumas. You said, forget them. I'm going over to now you with Adidas.
Yeah.
What was that like?
Blew my mind backwards. I mean,
because you out in Portland, Oregon. Like this is like the hub of sneaker royalty.
Yeah, and headquarters.
Yeah. We had a half-length basketball court. We had a whole sewing department downstairs that would make our samples. We had a room full of developers over here. All the designers were in the center of the building. We could bounce off of each other. We had desks, but there was no walls. So, like I said, if I had an idea, I could run over to training and the guys could show me in training and be like, yo, you should do this, this, or this. We had, it was great. I had an incident happen that I never talk about it. For years, everybody thought I was crazy for leaving Adidas, but it was an incident that happened that made me quit. And when I came back, I was like, listen, I've been gone for about 2 weeks. Everybody's been talking to me. And one made me that deal. And one made that deal as soon as they found out I quit. It was hilarious. They called me as soon as I quit. They called me and was like, hey, we was told that you need to come work with us and blah, blah, blah. And they was going, and at the time I was playing like the NBA Live that had Tony Park on the cover. It just came out. And I'm doing a call with them and they messing up my game, man. So I was like, look, and this is a true story, pardon the profanity. I said, look, I don't give a fuck about none of that stuff. All I want to do is make dope shit that me and my boys can play basketball and rock. Pardon my profanity. And they were like, it was silence for a second. He said, you're hired. And I was like, okay.
Damn. My goodness.
Yeah, I go back to Adidas. I try and mend the fences and everything. And I say, look, man, I'm making $35,000 here. And I got a shoe with my name on it out there on the shelves. Can we work this out? He said, look, go back and talk to everybody. Let them know you're okay. Let them know you're back and you're cool. Come back in here. We'll talk about your money. So that was like on a Monday. So he was like, so I come back in. I say, what's up? Come back into the office and I sit down with him. And that was the second L I took. I should have got the money before I got the comeback part.
Gotcha.
So he said, you were making 35. Now you're making 37. And I was like, but I can make 120 and one. So I left and was out of there by Thursday. I made sure I finished up all my work everything was current, and I got out of there and I left.
Damn.
So what was that experience like working that way at Reebok, man? I mean, you worked with some heavy hitters, man. Kobe.
What's them names looking like on that roster for that Adidas? Because Kobe signed a 6-year, $48 million deal, right?
Yeah. First of all, I was about to say, first of all, I met Kobe. Like meeting him and his father, Bean, Jelly Bean, is the coolest dude in the world. Like, he always shows you love, always shows you respect. But meeting Kobe was so cool. I met Kobe actually out here in Los Angeles. We had flew out to Los Angeles, and he was doing that shoot at the beach. And all of a sudden, this black Lincoln Navigator, you hadn't even seen those in LA yet, comes rolling up to the beach, and out jumps Kobe. Kobe walks over, shows love to everybody, talks to everybody. Me and him got to talk because we were going to go from there to, I think, the All-Star game in New York. It was in New York at the time. So, that was a later thing anyway. But we go out to the All-Star game, and he had a private little house party because, he was still underage, I guess. So he had like this private little party at a brownstone, and it was him, Tracy McGrady. Those two are real tight. Most people don't know. Him and Tracy and like Lisa Leslie, all kind of people came to this party. Brandy, everybody was at this party in New York, right? I'm trying to get in, and my team is trying to get in, but my team couldn't get in. Kobe saw that I was standing out there, and Kobe stopped, turned around, and was like, "Nah, that's my man. Bring him in here." Man, I felt like $1 million. Then when I got in there, he puts me sitting right next to him and Tracy McGrady. And I was like, "Kobe, man, I can't stay. My team is stuck outside. I can't be in here. Like, I got to go where my team goes." So he was like, "I respect that." So he said, "Tracy, go grab him for him, man." And Tracy went and got everybody out, out off the street. And it was cool. Then Eddie George, who, I ended up being cool with for years. Before I even met him at Adidas, I knew who he was. So Eddie George was cool. I never got to meet Antoine Walker until later on, way after he retired and all. That's when I was doing Protege. It was definitely some big names, man. But more than anything, I was just excited to meet the people that I met working there because they turned into like just giants in the business. And I had an opportunity to work with the great Peter Moore. He did the first Jordan, the second Jordan. He was the head of design and everything, and vice president and everything. And he would come in actually like anywhere from 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. He would come in. So I would make sure I got up every day at like 4 a.m., 5 a.m. to make sure I got to, because I lived down the street from the headquarters. I would get up every morning, be in the building by 6 o'clock, just so I could go in his office and learn from him and just shoot shit. Like I was there for a lot of stuff, and he was amazing. When he was working with Michael, he showed me this trunk where he opened it up, and there was prototypes for like a leather Jordan suit, all kind of Jordan stuff. It was in a Gucci or Louis Vuitton trunk right outside his office. And nobody knew walking past it all that time. Well, it was pictures of when they did the Jumpman photo shoot. He had the pictures and, how they outlined it and turned it into the Jumpman logo, all that stuff. That was an amazing process.
What shoes did you design? Did you design Kobe shoes?
No, I actually worked on the team that did. I didn't get an opportunity to do my own Kobe version shoe because I left. And that was more given to the senior designers. So one year they were like, "Yo, senior designers take a junior designer and work with him on the process." But I can't take credit for that because that was his shoe and his idea. I was just like, if he wanted me to go get a number 2 pencil, I was doing it. You know what I mean? Just to learn.
Just to sit and be in his presence and to pick his brain and learn. That's dope, right? That's some of the most I call that beautiful education.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I'm quite sure that you probably learned more getting up at 5 a.m, getting there while he was there, every day while he would, you say he would do that and he would leave. But that part of that day, that morning, that, you learned so much more that you could add to your repertoire that you already had, your creative skills.
I mean, with him, and then like with David Race, who, like I say, he has brand black. I couldn't finish shoes well. I'd start them and get the ideas going, and then the samples would come in and it'd be off. And like Dave would pull me under his wing and be like, "Yo, dude, you got to do this. You got to make sure this is where it's at. And then Shane Ward, who is now he's at Yeezy now. He would like pull me aside because I actually was his roommate for a little while. So he would like pull me aside even when we were at home and be like, "Yo, DJ, man," that's what he always called me. I don't know why. Because he said I look like a DJ.
I'm like, they ain't got nothing in your name but the D. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, so I had great big brother. And then there was a cat named Ron Wright. He's the vice president of the kids at Nike right now. He taught me a lot about how this business works for our people, for minorities, and just how to keep my cool. And because I was a hothead, of course, but how to keep my cool, how to look at this business in a certain aspect from our perspective. So Ron is just an amazing, incredible guy, that he's now, like I say, he's at Nike now. But I had great people around me that grew up in the industry.
How long were you with Adidas?
Man, I want to say like maybe a little bit over a year.
You
Damn.
So then I just got to jump. I got to jump back because you gave Skechers a lot of time.
Yeah, well, Skechers gave me a lot of money.
Well, so where was their offices at?
Manhattan Beach, California.
Oh,
so here's the funny part. After I left Adidas. I went to And One. Skechers offered me a great deal. They put it on the table, but I was like, it's Skechers. I don't care. But I also had already taken verbally a job at Fila. So I was going to go to Fila. So I fly out to go check the job out. And I just didn't have a comfort with one, where they were, because they were in like Pennsylvania somewhere or something crazy. And two, it was just like, I didn't see really anybody in the office. So I was kind of like something just didn't feel right. They ended up actually going out of business a little bit after I met with them. So it was a good move. So Skechers called me and they were like, listen, we know you're taking a job. Just come out here and just meet with us. That's all we're asking. And I was like, and by then I was like in Slam magazine and all this other stuff. So I had a little bit of leeway, a little bit of a juice.
Clout.
So,
a little clout.
Yeah, a little clout. A little bit.
Yeah, some clout running.
Yeah. So Skechers was like, just come out here. I was like, nah, I'm good. I'm going to go work for Fila. I'm cool. They were like, but our office is on the beach. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm coming out. I got to see this. Free trip to LA. Gonna be on the beach. I got to see what this is all about. So I go and I do the interview and I do the walkthrough. Beautiful facility. They still got it, but it's used by something else. They built a big old brand new building. I'm looking out the window of where I'd be sitting, and I see the ocean. I mean, just like Manhattan Beach. Then all the women were beautiful, and I was like, oh no, I'm taking this job. I'm sitting there thinking to myself. And Robert Greenberg, who's the owner of Skechers, one of the greatest men I've also worked with as well. He comes in the meeting. He says, hey, sorry I haven't met with you today. I had a lot of stuff going on. I said, oh, it's okay, sir. He says, you like this place? I said, yeah. He's like, all right, taking human resources, get them signed up. I was like, I guess I'm working here now. Like,
damn.
Oh man, Robert's a gangster. He's gangster, but he's a real gangster with it. He was just like, yo, I remember he gave me my first raise. He said, I heard you may be leaving because you're not making enough money. I was like, man, I can't live off of this. You know what I mean? He said, all right, well, now you make this much. It was damn near double what I was making. He said, now you make this money. He said, being broke is the devil. He said, being broke is the devil. I never want you to worry about money. And that old man took care of me for years. Like, he looked out, gave me my first office. I tinted the windows and would like wild out.
He out his office. He tipped out his office. You know you from the Chi. All the Chicago people gonna pimp out their office. He put some tint on the windows.
And then everybody would like to come in there and just, hang out and just talk or whatever. I'm like, I'm trying to work. Like it's cool. And it had a stereo built into the wall, hanging on the wall, and bottle of Jack Daniels and all kind of stuff. All kind of stuff in that office.
So what shoes were you producing for Skechers though?
Right.
When I first came in, they wanted to do Skechers basketball. So we made the samples and really didn't, it really wasn't, they weren't good. They actually weren't good. But I was working on other stuff as well, like a casual shoe, a training shoe, that sort of thing. And then they ended up getting a deal with Mark Echo to do his shoes. and they ended up starting another brand with a famous car company that was out here called 310 Motoring. So I was able to do, do a lot of shoes in those two brands. And I was actually the only designer for 310 when it started. All that stuff was mine. And then once it started taking off and getting a pulse, all the other designers in the company all of a sudden was like doing 310 stuff. And I'm like, I can't get my stuff done. And I'm the guy. So it became another situation, a learning situation where I went off. I didn't make a lot of friends. I'll say that much.
I remember 310 Motoring because they shit was like it was more of coming from a car area of auto sport meeting. They were kind of designing those shoes off of vehicles, you know what I'm saying? With they had wood grain. They had wood grain in the sole of the damn sneaker. Like it was crazy.
Yep. No, that's what it was all about for me. It was about, I didn't want to make, and I think that's why after I left, the line kind of fell apart as well.
Yeah.
Because they started putting like seatbelts on the damn thing. And I'd be like, yo, no, that's not what we're doing.
I remember that.
Yeah, I was gone, so I didn't care. But I was just like, no, dude, like it's not, what it was supposed to be was everything that when you got into a car, like you just explained, you get into a good car, you see wood grain, you see the way the leathers, the seats are stitched together with the double stitch and all of that. And the logos were chrome. I wanted you to feel like when you looked at it, you got it. You understood. It was not a car shoe. It was a shoe for a guy who has a nice car.
Who have a nice car, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or a nice bike.
Definitely. And like I say, once it started gaining steam, I come downstairs to go see samples and look at samples, and I'm seeing like sparkly glitter ones, and I'm like, wait a minute, didn't y'all throw this out of Skechers? And they'd be like, yeah, but we think it'll work in 310. I was like, oh, God.
You're like, no.
Hey, man, here's an interesting story. I was told that before Skechers became Skechers, they were LA Gear.
Yeah.
In college, my freshman year, man, we wore LA Gears.
The catapults.
The catapults.
Catapult me.
We wore the catapults.
I had them Karl Malones, I ain't gonna lie.
You had the Karl Malones. Yes. The Karl Malones.
Hey, but why did they look different on Carl's feet? Like they always looked real cushiony. They always looked real cushiony and thick.
Because he's 325. We don't make the shoes for the athletes the same as the shoes you get in the store. Believe me. Some companies do. I'm not going to lie to you. Some companies do, but no, most of the time the shoes you see on TV. Now it's a little bit more common because of how advanced footwear was. But back in the day, you didn't get the same shoe.
You didn't get the same shoe that the Star wore, right?
Nah, not at all.
That was crazy.
So now, man, we got to enter into this and one culture because, with the street game and all that, just the history behind it. You're now walking into the and one culture. What's your mindset? What's your thinking? Like, what were you prepared to do for them?
I honestly didn't know much about and one, to be perfectly honest. I mean, I knew who they were. I knew they were out there, but I worked at Adidas. I couldn't wear and one or anybody else, so it just never, when I work for a company, I want to wear that product. You know what I mean? Like I've learned that from watching Michael Jordan and how, a lot of athletes don't understand. And it's hard for me to explain to them sometimes. Like if you work for a company and you're out in the streets and you're with and1 and you're wearing Jordans, people aren't going to take you seriously, nor are they going to take the company seriously. So Michael was like, yo, the only time you see me and I ain't wearing a Jumpman is if I got a suit on or something like that. Michael never went and said, hey, man, I'm going to wear the Charles Barkley's for you. Nah, he ain't do none of that, dude. Hey, I'm going to wear the Air Force Ones. Nah, make an Air Force Jordan. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Yeah, I'm going to cut the top off and have me a low-cut Air Force One of the one. So I didn't know much about them. So they were in Pennsylvania, somewhere in, not Pennsylvania, Philadelphia. And I remember my first trip out there, I finally meet these people I've been talking to on the phone, and I see the offices, and the office was very cool. They had a basketball court as well, but they had refrigerators, and it was just it was what the culture was about, was what you felt like when you went into that office. And then, like I say, we had Set Free, who is still to this day a pioneer. Set Free basically had his whole little setup inside of AND1. And I remember when he was looking at the Ray for Austin tapes, and I couldn't believe this skip to my Luca. I was like, oh my God, how did he do that? He was like, man,
right,
man. He was like, man, I'm telling you, I'm about to put all these on videos and we go just sell them. And I was like, that sounds like a good plan. But what people didn't know is he was already doing mixtapes. So he had like people in the industry that he was able to get them to do intros or get them to give him music for it. And man, those tapes just blew up. And AND1 was just rocking and rolling. I never would have left AND1, had Skechers. I was having my first kid too. So, it was like the money that Skechers and the opportunity that Skechers was given for me to live in, LA and have a better life. I had to take that ride, man, but I never wanted to leave. But I'm kind of glad I did, because they ended up selling like 3 times after I left. And then I got with the company like 3 different times, or 2 or 3 times. And then when I got with the company that has it now, and I did about 3 years with them here and another 2 years there or whatever. And it's not the same. It's just, it's the logo now. There's no culture to it at all.
Wow.
It's in Walmart, which is a good play because they're making like $300 to $500 million a year there. But as far as the essence and the soul of the brand, like they've been selling the same shoe now for the last 3 years. It's like it's kind of hard, but you got good guys over there like Dexter and Dave and those guys. They're working really hard. But if your culture is off balance, if your marketing people are pushing hard to establish you like that again, and then the people that sign the checks are thinking we're going to be the next Adidas or Nike, and they don't really put the right effort.
You can't think that way.
No,
you got in that. I think in that space, you can't worry about what the others are doing.
No,
you know what I'm saying? Like you only can create your lane for that, and like you said, your marketing, the culture, the aesthetics, all of that has to be in that lane, and aiming for that venue of people. You know what I'm saying? That's gonna take shape.
Yeah, the reality was the first time around, AND1 didn't care what anybody was doing. They was just like, we go do our thing. And they were successful. And then when I came back to the brand, to see them not want to embrace that culture and try and embrace an athletic performance-based story and culture, I was like, this isn't, we can't do that. We have to, we have to live off of the assets and what got you here. Nike don't stop doing air. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's right. That's right.
Reebok stopped doing the pump, and now they owned by Adidas. It's like when you get away from the culture, or you don't grow the culture of your brand and the products inside of your brand, and you let them get stale and you let them get outdated, or you just dismiss them, you alienate a customer that you alienate the consumer. You know what I mean? And it doesn't work like that. So,
and then sneakers are kind of funny because they go by regions.
Yeah.
Don't they? You see that, Dallas? See where I'm going with it? Like they go by regions. Like stuff that will them. I mean, like it's kind of more global now, but I remember back in the day. Remember the heavy weapons, the Converse weapons? Mm-hmm. Like that was a big shoe, but you can only get it at certain places.
Especially
like you couldn't get that. Oh man, the colors. Like the green, like I liked that Celtic green. Couldn't get them here.
Don't go get in Chicago.
Couldn't get him in Chicago. and they were a heavy shoe. They had a damn strap, like almost like a ankle strap on the inside of them. We played in them when I left St. Joe's and I came to Marshall. On my sophomore year, we had them. They gave me a pair. I was like, damn, they feel like
I
bricks.
had a pair in 8th grade. That's another story, though.
Oh, that's why you was jumping so high. You got 15-pound shoes on each foot, so you working out.
Hey, that's right. So Dal, let me ask you this, man. The brand, the success. What shoes were you responsible for over at AN1?
The AN1 Too Chillin', which was the slip-on shoe, which still to this day is the brand's longest running type of shoe. I was responsible for that. There was a bunch of stuff, that. See, the thing about AN1 was we kind of would just throw all the designs into a pot. You know what I mean? And like we would work off of, like, if someone started something, someone else might have finished. It was only like 2 or 3 designers at the time. So, there were shoes that we could take full credit for. And I don't take credit for things that I did with other people or something that they started or whatever. I don't like doing it, even if I worked on it. So it was, for AN1, it was really that one that I'll say, that I can comfortably say that was all mine, and I loved it to death. Everything else was on my second run. Man, it was, I can't remember the names of these shoes, but like the M2 or M3, the Tai Chi 3, I can't remember them all. It's been a while, but the names of them rather, which is bad. I should have been prepped for this. But
now you made a shoe that I'm very familiar with, that actually had that Jordan kind of, that patent leather, because you were talking about that patent leather earlier. Mm-hmm. But you made a shoe. It kind of had like the Jordan bottom, but it also had that patent leather. What was the name of that shoe?
I don't remember the name, but I can real quickly give you the story of what that was about. We had Lance Stevenson. Lance Stevenson would not wear AN1. He always wore Jordan. And so when I first signed back on my second run, we went up to his house and I talked to him, and he was like, look, man, I feel like this when I play in these shoes. It feels like this, feels like that. And I had to come. It was very upsetting because I had to come as close to the patent leather as I could in order to get him to, get into the shoe. So I took him through the levels and why this is like this and I can't do that. And he understood, and and that was a decent shoe. I really loved the shoe, but the problem was I overbuilt that shoe, and I had a internal ankle fit system that actually worked. I had like the outsole treads calibrated so that it worked with the way he played and how he cut and how he moved. And he was the grip was so good that he stepped out and took one step during the game and messed up his leg and messed up his ankle or something. So I injured Lance Stevenson. That was my fault.
Damn.
You injured Make Him Dance Lance.
Make him dance, Lance couldn't dance for a little bit because he jabbed. He got the ball to go in and he jabbed, and the shoe stuck. It didn't
did what it was supposed to do.
Exactly, and he got in it, and that is one of the darkest days of my career, was knowing that I had anything to do with that, because we worked hard. Me and Lance would call each other and talk over the phone and send emails back and forth, and Dex would make sure we were communicating. It was as hard as people think Lance is to be around, or whatever you want to say negative about Lance Stevenson. You don't know Lance Stevenson. Lance Stevenson is a great guy. It's just like Steven Jackson. Worked with him. Mm-hmm. Great dude. Like I literally was ready to throw blows in a club for my man. Like, these are great guys that just get a bad knock. And Lance was really a great dude. And he's also the best 2K player in the NBA.
Get out of here.
Hands down, huh? Hands down.
Last 2K game is so on point. He'll sit there and be on his phone typing while he's playing with you to break your spirit. He's cold. That boy cold, man.
Dang.
That boy cold.
So I got to hit you with a heavy hitter, man. I got to hit you with a heavy hitter. Excluding yourself, unless and you don't have to. You can include yourself. What was the best and one kick ever created?
I have to say Tai Chi. I have to say Tai Chi. Tai Chi still to this day is like a standard bearer for, I mean, the kids, like I said, because of the way the culture has changed in the company and the way they look, the kids don't know it like that. But that shoe was one of the most incredible and beautiful pieces of footwear ever created. I mean, it did exactly what it was supposed to do. It put the company on the mark. You could tell what it was from 90 miles away. You knew what that shoe was. As far as And1, that's been their best shoe to date until the Attack 2 came along. And I wish to God you guys could have seen the materials and what they wanted to do, what the Cat Ryan Holler wanted to do with that shoe, but he had to bring it down for price reasons. The Attack 2 and I think the Attack 2 is going to hopefully be the shoe that bridges them back into the mainstream, because they're working on the 3 now, from what I'm told. But I hope that it keeps that company with enough energy in it so that it, that next round of And1 stuff we see is like the, when they hit you on the chest with the, but no,
Yeah.
Sorry, Tai Chi.
Tai Chi.
That's real,
Yeah.
And it didn't hurt that Vince.
Huh?
I was gonna say it didn't hurt that Vince won the dunk contest in them too. That helped.
No, we did not know. That was the crazy thing. What people didn't know is there was a rotation that he had to do after he left Puma. He couldn't be in a competitor's same product for more than 3 games in a row. So he couldn't wear Jordan 3 games after, or 4 games, whatever the rule was. So as
who rule was this? First of all, who was this a contract of his? Or?
Yeah, it was part of him getting out of his deal, was that, he couldn't do that. And we at And1 had no idea. Nobody at And1 knew he was going to wear that shoe that night. Nobody. Like literally, we were sitting at home and he came out and we saw it and we were all calling each other like, "Oh my God, did you see this? He's got on the cheese. He got on the cheese." Like, yeah, man, like this is crazy. And that after that, And1 just was like, boom. It was like a rocket. Like, oh God, I couldn't breathe because people knew me as the And1 guy in Denver, because before that I was giving out a bunch of 2 chillins. So like I couldn't move, man. It was
Hey, I bet y'all had to go and make, because after that slam dunk contest, like I'm sure people tried to find the shoe, but they was all gone. So y'all had to make, y'all had to go back to the factory and make some more than y'all.
Well, but after that, man, it was shoe after shoe that came out. It was like we couldn't do wrong. We couldn't do no wrong. Whatever they put out. Yeah. And, like I say, a lot of that had to do, shout out to the And1 street ball team. All those guys, I love those guys, man. As much as I love Dex, man, it's like, and Free, those guys really took And1 all across the world, and all across the country. Like I remember they came out here one time for a tour down at Venice Beach. And man, it looked like you'd think Michael Jackson was throwing a concert on Venice Beach, and it was for them dudes. You know what I mean? Like we literally was sitting on a rooftop looking at this big swell of people. Most people couldn't even see the game. But that culture, man. Oh, it was helicopters flying over. It was like rock star. Them dudes, man.
And these dudes were straight up hood stars, like hood stars.
Headache, AO, Sauce, all these cats, man, they built a generation. And like I say, you have to pay homage to that culture. You have to keep that culture, around your brand in some way, shape, or form. And it just didn't happen that way. Like Skip has been back a couple of times, but at the end of the day, it was a movement, man. You can't just take a piece from the movement. You can't just talk about civil rights movement and just always talk about Martin Luther King.
Exactly. So look, I'm thinking to myself, like, just how we talking, that like there should be a sneaker award show. What you think about that? Like they do the Oscars. I mean, I think they should do a sneaker award show, bro. Like, I think that would be dope.
I don't know. I think Yeezy would get it like 8 years in a row. Yeezy and Jordan would dominate that whole, and it'd be Jordan stuff from 20 years ago.
Yeah.
But, I think it would be nice. I think definitely for we as designers to get a lot more recognition.
Yeah.
Just from a standpoint of there's no union. when it's over for us,
right. There's no
so giving designers an opportunity. For a while they were doing it, but the problem was designers would get interviewed and then they would go to different companies. They get an offer, they get an interview and slam, and then Nike would call them and they leave, and then you got to go through legal stuff. So and then with this age of social media, one of the designers got in trouble. Very good kid. I've known him since he started drawing. He does LeBron every year. He got in trouble for stating his opinion. So, which is partially why I don't like working with companies sometimes, because it's like whatever their social policies or whatever, I'm a grown man. If I feel like getting on my social media and saying that I don't think something is fair to my people or and it doesn't align with their things, I can end up in human resources the next morning looking for a gig. So we get designers, it's rough, man. And most time we're underpaid, and then you get these resellers, these whatever you call them, the sneaker fiends,
sneaker fiends.
Yeah, the sneaker fiends and the resellers. Like the resellers disgust me, only because here you are. I probably made $120,000 that year, or maybe even if I'm a low-level guy that got in $50,000, $60,000. Here you are taking something that the company's already taken from me and profiting 10 times more than I am, and now you out on the streets selling my work, and I ain't seen no check. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like that whole culture and how deep people have gotten into turning our work that they bought into what they're doing. I think it's not cool.
Yeah,
because
it's like the Wild Wild West, man, in the sneaker game.
It is.
It's like the Wild Wild West.
Are you against the retros, or is it the fact that they just profiting off of it the way that they are?
I'm against two things, and this is a conversation that got me in a little trouble a while back. You can't sell me a shoe you did 20 years ago for the same amount of money. Because I'll never work there. They don't hire me. They're not going to hire me. You're telling me the Jordan that came out in 1984 is worth the same amount of money as the Jordan that came out this year. So I got to spend $123 for a 14-year-old shoe, and I got to spend $150 for a 1-year shoe, the year it came out. That ain't cool. But Jordan, to much to their credit, they have stepped up on the materials and things of that nature. So I think at least if you're going to run that game, and he stands firm on it. So no, I love retro shoes. I don't buy a lot of the new stuff or get a lot of the new stuff. I love retro. A lot of new. I can't justify giving you $250 for a mesh shoe.
Yeah. Say it, Dallas.
Absolutely.
I don't know any hoopers that really hoop in that stuff. He's not a kids hooping, little kids, but I don't know any real hoopers that can really hoop in that plastic and metal. And then the problem is that right now we're in a bad time in basketball design because everybody is pretty much whatever Nike and Adidas is doing, let's do that.
I hate that.
It's not real. There's no, you can't look. If you took all the logos off most of the basketball shoes on the shelf right now and you looked at them without the logos, you wouldn't probably be able to tell, except for if they had an airbag, which now everybody's using airbags and stuff. You wouldn't be able to tell who's who in basketball. There's no kind of language. I've been working for the last year and a half on creating a language of how I want my basketball shoes to look with balling and things that I need when we get into performance. But I've been very tiptoeing and cautious about doing it just because I can't come out and look like everybody else. And I damn sure can't come out and charge you $250 for a mesh shoe when Nike's doing it. People be like, well, I'm going to spend my $250 with Nike. So there's not enough thinking in basketball anymore. It's just a lot of copying. And it's bad. It's really hurt our
industry. It really has.
Yeah.
But now we want to move into, man, the breakup. You leave And1, you go to Protege. But first, tell us about, what ended the relationship with And1, and was Protege the next movement for you after that?
What ended the relationship with And1 was a twofold thing. One, we started blowing up. So, it got harder and harder for me to get shoes into the line, and like I say, they call, and because we had like 2 or 3 designers, but one designer was like just really the head of design, and he was just like doing his thing. So it became harder and harder for me to get my work through. And then, like I said, I got that call one day. I'm sitting at home, and they're like, "Look, man, we don't like the stuff we've been seeing lately. And, if it doesn't change, we're going to have to do business in a different way." And I looked at the phone. I was like, didn't I just sell like 1 million pairs of shoes? I'm like, are you serious? I was like, okay, bet. Hung up the phone. Headhunters were always calling me, offering me jobs and stuff. Because at the time, I'm in magazines. I'm in Slam magazine. I'm in this article, this website, this blog thing. So getting a job was not an issue or a problem at all. And so when they started talking crazy, like, to me, well, I felt at the time, because I was young, I didn't understand how they were saying it, what they were saying it. It was how they were saying it. I was like, I bet I'll just go get another gig. And it's so funny. I left there and I started working at Skechers, and they didn't believe that I was gone. So they still gave me like 2 paychecks, not believing that I left. Yeah, I got like another 2 paychecks out of them, and I was no longer there. I was working at Skechers. So
had they even spoke to you in the prior to giving you those 2 paychecks?
No.
Wow.
Like I said, to me, it felt like the writing was on the wall. You know what I mean? As opposed to what it really truly was. What I found out later on, what it really was just, the company was getting bigger and it was growing faster. And there were certain needs that had to be handled by this designer. They had to be handled because he had the whole look and aesthetic of the company came from him. So me thinking, oh, I'm just getting crushed and they go get rid of me after they didn't got what they didn't got out of me. I was like, I'm not. And then I had a daughter on the way. So I'm like, nah, I'm not going to sit around and wait to get, well, my daughter had been born already by that time. And I was like, I'm not going to sit around and wait to get thrown out. I'm out. And Skechers, like I say, they took care of me, financially, gave me health care and just all kind of stuff, man. So I was like, I'm out of here.
So you went from AND1 to Skechers, because I just want to put it in order.
Yeah.
So give us right now the chronological order. You started with, gosh, who was it? You started with,
it was Ballin', then it was 2 Hype. It was Ballin', and it was 2 Hype. After 2 Hype, it was Puma.
Reebok.
Yeah, Reebok was 2 Hype. That was all the same thing.
It's together.
Then it was Puma. Then after Puma, I went to, and you got to forgive me because there's brands that I've totally forgotten I worked with. I went from there to, and this is bad. Like, this is why I do bad at interviews.
Yeah. I mean, you only have the craziest hiring stories ever.
Yeah.
I think you done gave us like 3 of them. Like, I'm like, shit.
That's why I like the way this is rolling, because I can remember it better. I've changed my resume 16 times over the years, but a lot, what people didn't understand too, and this is the funny thing about it. I had a design firm. It was called 2 in a Box. Or I was, so I was working with multiple clients. At one point I had left Skechers and they brought me back to work on stuff, but I was working with Oakley. So, I'm working with different companies, and I have just me as a design firm and as the design company, 2 in a Box. I have clients, and I'm thinking, this is great. I get to work with everybody. I get to work when I want. Sometimes I take 6 months off because I'd be like, yo, I've made so much money. I want to enjoy my life. I want to drive my sports cars. I was in a nightclub business. I had, a great life. Do you know that I'd work with all these companies, make all this money. You can see all my progress. The one guy and a headhunter lady told me, well, it looks like you can't keep a job. And I was like, no, what, huh? She was like, yeah, it just looks like you can't keep a job. You bounce from place to place. I was like, no, I'm a consultant. So when my counterparts in the industry do it, they are great design firms. When I do it, I can't keep a job. Right. And I just sit there and that's what started me to get more into the entrepreneurial side of it for myself, because I realized that this industry, how it was and how they treat, minority designers, you better go out there and get it on your own. Because if you don't, like I say, you get about 35 years old and you Black and you're a designer, they look at you like you old. Like you ain't even in touch with the street no more. How can you design this stuff You live in a 4-bedroom house in Portland. Like,
That's right.
What you know about what's hip and cool anymore?
Right.
yeah. When I go to Chicago, I go home all the time. Like, I just got shot at 2 weeks ago. Like, what are you talking about? I'm a street kid. Like, but, it's sad, man. It's a sad look, man. That's why I think I took the attitude I took with And One and other places, and I would just be like, all right, cool, we're good here, and I would go off with brothers, with cats, and I'd start whole companies from scratch. And
Wow.
like, how we roll into Protege. Protege was Al Harrington and another cat named Rodney, not our Rodney, but they were just tired of seeing how the shoe companies were doing not only the athletes, but the kids and the families. See, that was I was very proud of all of that work with Protege. And what I mean by it wasn't just the clothes or the shoes I designed or the ads I did, because I was doing everything, the shoes, the clothes, the ads, all that stuff. It was the fact that, like, we had gotten that thing humming so hard that, like, it really was making a difference. I remember we had a thing in Atlanta, and this lady came up to me just in tears with her son, and they gave her a couple pairs of Proteges, and she was like, "This is so beautiful what you're doing. This is amazing." She was crying, and I would have to tell her, "Okay, it's all good, thank you." And she wanted to hug me. Then when she walked away and I couldn't see her no more, I had to walk away and cry because I'm looking at her like that was my mom trying to figure out things, But that was a meaningful thing, and that only died because Kmart and Sears, Kmart went away. So, and we can't take.
So was that the whole goal, just to keep it in Kmart? Like you guys never ventured out, tried to put it anyplace else?
No. We got it in Sears for a little bit, but it just wasn't making sense because the model was blowing up on TV in Kmart. So we made Protege Elite or something like that, we called it. And we did a few shoes and we ran them in Sears, but it was kind of like, why would you do that when Kmart has the ads on TV and yeah, on the court and getting the press. So we by the time we thought about taking it elsewhere, it just wouldn't have made sense to go higher or try and go higher up. We were good where we were, and we were doing something good, So that was that. Yeah, that was that story.
So was this the Protege brand? I know they had Steven Jackson and Al Harrington. Were they the initiators of the brand, or you brought them in? Oh, they were.
Oh yeah, no. Al and Rodney were truly the ones. Al Harrington, another awesome human being. I mean, just an awesome, awesome person. Always have you smiling and laughing. Funniest dude in the world. Al remembered how hard it was for him growing up. And Rodney had just came off of working with Stephon Marbury on Starberry. So he knew what the impact of Starberry was and how to run it, and that sort of thing. So the two of them knew each other through Steph, and they got to talking one day and they was like, "Yo, Steph, we gonna go do this." And Steph was already done with his line, Starberry. So they went and started it, and they were working on it for about a year. And then a mutual friend was working with them. He said, "Hey, man, y'all got to meet this Dallas dude, man. He can do this. He can design this stuff for you." And I came in, and it was originally being done by one of my other mentors, Dazo Anderson. Shout out to Dazo, man, great guy too. And I came in, and we just started moving, man. We started going 100 miles an hour.
So but this was your baby though. You were the head designer on this one, right?
Oh yeah, no. There was only out of the 6 or 7 years or whatever it was out. There was only one design, maybe 2 or 3 that wasn't done by me. All those other shoes, all those years, that was me. And a guy named Chris Yuta, who was my developer at first. He took a shot at a few shoes. He did real good. But that was me, man. I would just sit around for hours and just like design shoes. It was crazy. Like straight up 3 days at a time, not leaving the house, just sitting there drawing shoes.
It's almost like somebody in the studio making music.
That's what it was. People would come because I had this big old loft downtown. People would come through. We'd kick it, and hang out. And before that, I had another apartment in this real nice complex where celebrities were. And it was off the chain, man. It would get to the point where, like, because my office was in the front of the apartment, so I really didn't know what was going on in the apartment. So I'd come downstairs on the Sunday, and somebody be coming down the stairs, and I'd be like, "How long you been here? Since Friday?" I'm like, "What?"
right. I'm gonna tell you this, man. I did not have an issue at all with the Protege shoe, except for one thing. Every time you went to Kmart, the right shoes was never in the right box. You go in there, man, I'm trying to get my kids some shoes, size 7, and then you pull it out of size 5 in the box. I'm like, what's going on with the boxes, man?
No, what was going on was they were all laid out there in order for people to be able to just go and grab them, see them open. So people would take them out of one box and put them in another box. Yeah. When they left China, they was in the right box, though.
No, man, actually, that I think what you guys were doing, man, with the Protege shoe, and you mentioned it earlier with Starberry shoe, man, that stuff was, you don't see that today. Like, there is no more of that consciousness thinking like, hey, this mama with her kids struggling to buy shoes for 3 and 4 kids. You don't see that today. Why do you think we've gotten away from that?
It's the numbers, the finances. It costs you just as much to make a $34 shoe if you're Nike, because you can't as Nike, you can't make a $34 shoe and take away the integrity of the kind of product you build. So at Nike, a $40 shoe that you might buy does not always look as good as a $140 shoe, because you can't put the type of materials and things into that and have a margin at the end of the day. See, with us, that was all we sold. So we didn't have to worry so much about the margin and how much money would come back on the back end. And we weren't making it with the best of materials. Like, we didn't use leather. We used, I guess you would call it, we call it synthetic leather. I guess you call it pleather.
Yeah, we call it pleather. We call it pleather. Absolutely. Hey, listen, you know you're from the shot. There goes another one of them words, pleather.
Yeah, you got the pro wings, man. Like, no, it's integrity of product.
Pro wings.
Pro wings and bobos. It's product integrity, man, and it's also integrity of your brand for some. Like, they can't be in those mass chains and mass markets because they think it'll take away from where they are up here. You know what I mean? And so there's a lot of things that companies don't get into, and you be sitting there like, why ain't they doing that? Or Nike doesn't do that, or da-da-da-da. There's financial reasons. That's all at the end of the day it's about.
Do you think that's what's hurting the And One brand? Because in a sense, they are trying to get back in that mainstream market, but they're really now more known for being in Walmart.
Yep.
Yeah, good. And I mean, I think with that brand, and I try not to be so brutal on And One anymore, but because I was part of like the original And One, so I knew what it was all about. And then when I got to the new And One, it kind of didn't work out, and it wasn't very cool. But I think if you're going to be in Walmart, and you're going to just focus on the Walmart business, because you can't, it's hard for a Foot Locker to say, I'm going to carry the same thing that they're carrying it. Even if it ain't the same shoe, it's just the name, the stigma.
Just the name, yep.
I think, shout out to another guy, Rob Purvey. He had a great idea, like, we'll do And One, and then we'll do A1. They had logos, the whole nine. They were going to separate it, and that's how you got to do it, like Toyota and Lexus. People don't know they buy these Lexuses. That's a Toyota. You know what I mean?
Toyota,
yeah. So I think it's a strategy, and that's the strategy with like Ballin. With Ballin, we're talking to like major retailers, like Fanatics and all the guys at Shoe House and all these other places that we're talking to about bringing it in. But we're also talking to a guy like a Target or Walmart in order to do special collections for them. In order to give back. So I make, like, with this shirt, I probably make like, I got orders for like five or 30,000 of them. I may only sell like maybe realistically 25,000 or so. So I still got all that material left over and everything, So why not take that after this shirt has had its run? Why not take what I got left over and put something together? And we don't have to call it balling. We can call it powered by ball, whatever it is, and powered by like your hat says game. We can have game powered by balling, and give the kid an opportunity to have,
some connection.
Yeah. Because what most people don't know, and it cracks me up. I'm learning a lot because I've been dealing with the apparel industry. What most people don't know is they make the stuff that you go in and pay like $200 for a shirt for is made in the same factory, same stuff as the shirt that you bought at Target. It's like
right.
like,
Hey, so I'm looking at both of you and Will's hat, and I'm just reading Game 7.
You predicted something, Agee? It's gonna be a 7-game series.
Oh no, G, I'm just saying. It's funny. I'm just looking. I'm like, Game 7. I'm like, what the hell?
We need to look that up while we're online and make sure that somebody ain't got that. Get on USPTO.gov right now.
Game 7.
Oh man,
I like that, man. Well, man, keeping it here with the business and the industry, and we're gonna begin to wind this down because we've taken up so much of your time. But so much stuff is happening in the game of basketball. I'm sure you're familiar with, man. From like obviously now with athletes being able to get paid, which I'm a big proponent of it. I'm glad they can make money off themselves. The overtime league that's coming out, where they're gonna be doing some great things for these high school kids and college athletes. Where do you see this going? This new and in particular, does this hurt? I don't think it's going to hurt the NBA game, but I do think it could hurt the NCAA game. What's your thoughts on that?
The NCAA game is already hurt from a standpoint of when the last time you heard about somebody that went to school for 4 years and then went to the NBA? We got to call the NCAA basketball and football and leagues. We got to call it for what they are. I can't play until I'm this age, so I'm going to take this year. You know what I mean? Like, most people don't know Michael Jordan was, a junior before he left Chapel Hill?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, NCAA already has it. And now that you could pay them, maybe it'll keep these kids around because, they'll have money. But how is that going to work? Like, will Nike be able to talk to a kid that's at an Under Armour school and pay this kid $2 million to wear Under Armour? Not if I'm that school. So that means Nike or Adidas or Under Armour, maybe they control, like they pay the kid through their program. Now we got to see who's going to start paying the most money. So then you're going to have kids that want to go to Under Armour school because they know it's not Nike, and I'm going to get more money at the Under Armour school. So we got to see how this all plays out over the next couple of years. I'm interested to see how it goes. But no, the NCAA, honestly, like, I feel has been taking a hurt. Well, only for basketball. I'm not really into the football and baseball and all that. But I don't watch college ball as much anymore because the kid is there for a year, and the next year he's
I watch college ball and college football. I love it. But let me tell you my thoughts on the NC2A thing. They still ain't coming up off no money. All they did was allow a rule for outside agencies to pay a player or endorse a player. The school itself is not giving the money that player is generating for that school, and they're not taking a check out of out of their bank account and saying, here, this is for Arthur Agee for coming to Arkansas State for playing in 34 games, averaging 12 points and all of this. They still off the hook on that. You see what I'm saying? Like, they've only allowed this rule.
You didn't get that duffel bag of cash before you left?
I ain't getting none of that. It's like the NC2A is all they did was they just said, okay, well, it's okay for them to get endorsement deals or money while they in college playing for us. That's all they did. But the whole thing was with the NCAA is that they were making money off the backs of the students. Right. And they still gonna be making money off the backs of the students. You know what I'm saying? And they not giving none of that money to the student. They saying like, you're playing in our organization and we've just allowed for you to make money outside our organization through endorsement deals.
Right.
So it's like,
Right.
you know, and you think about that. Who are the kids that are going to be getting endorsement deals? Well, look at Matt. Why he got an endorsement deal from the alumni car dealership, and I ain't get one.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like we finna fall into
got the best perks, and that's gonna throw things. But it's always kind of been that way. Like you want to go to North Carolina because you know you'll get a lot of TV. You know what I mean? Like these are the things. It's. I hate that they leave after 1 year. I know they have to for family reasons, but they should stay in school and learn that business and learn that they are now a piece of meat. They're a business. You know, like learn your business, man. Michael Jordan, you know, and Shaquille O'Neal. Most people don't know that logo you see of Shaquille Duncan on the side of the shoes. He owned that. He had that at LSU. He owned that. They had to pay him a fee to use that. That's good thinking. That brother is not dumb and slow in any way like people try and make him out to be sometimes. He is a doctor for a reason. It's like
And I'm glad you brought that up because I wanted to ask you about this too as well. Just sticking with the business side of it is that I think that is actually even changed too because of guys like Mike and Shaq and Kobe, these kind of guys. But man, prior to that, when we was coming up, the game really was all about the bling and who had the chain and the cars, you know, the whips. What do you think? What happened? What made
Michael Jordan?
Michael Jordan.
Yep.
Michael Jordan. No doubt. I've talked to countless basketball players, and they say you can say whatever you want about LeBron or Kobe or whatever, but they will tell you, and I'm talking about guys he went to war with. They will tell you he helped change the culture of basketball and professional basketball by just rolling around and being a class act. You know what I mean? And the way he handled his endorsements and things. Like I said, we were talking earlier in the conversation, you know, when they went to the Olympics, he put that flag over his thing because he ain't no Reebok dude. He's a Jordan guy.
Jordan guy to the heart.
Yeah, he's loyal to his brand. And Shaq is the same way. Shaq is loyal to his brand. You know, Kobe was loyal to his brand. There's a reason. I learned this by working with so many athletes. There's a reason why you have athletes that are at this level, and there's a reason why you have athletes that are right about here, because I would watch their habits in dealing with us as shoe companies. Some guys, when you deal with them, you go over their house and they sitting there watching game footage. They talking to you about their shoe. They talking about what they didn't like in the last one, what they're looking for. You can have real conversation. These are usually the guys that excel at business, and like a Kevin Durant or somebody that's got money in the tech company and Curry. They take their job and their brand seriously. Other guys, I'll sit there and I'll be like, and there's only one guy that was like that I didn't mind, and that was Steven Jackson. Steven trusted me enough to say he knew that I could just go design it and come back. But a lot of guys, man, I go over their house, they playing video games, they talking about their new dog, or, you know, it's like, I'm like, dude, do my job. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Michael Jordan, without a doubt, you know, he was the reason why cats started coming to the game with their suits, you know, and when he said it, I think he said something similar to like, this is a business, this is a job, so I'm going to dress like I'm going to work. You know what I mean? Which I think he got that from his father's, but it was Michael.
Hey, Will in Dallas. And then I'm thinking about this. Why would the sneaker company pay a kid an endorsement money when they already paying the coach and the school for them wearing their sneakers?
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
I thought about that too, Agee. I thought about that too. How they gonna work them dynamics out? If you go to Nike, you at a Nike school, and that coach is getting $10 million for the school to play in that brand. How they gonna justify that now? You know, it's. I'm with Dallas. There's so many things that need to be explained and work out. But at the same token, I'm still excited that these dudes got opportunity now, and women, you know, to make money off their likeness and their images, man, because no longer should we go to, you know, fan.com and buy or whatever, and they can't profit off of that.
I mean, you look at another game changer I was fortunate to work with for years, and is Master P. P's son got a technology deal or something. You know, $2 million. That was a technology deal. So that may be the way that it goes. It might not always be about Nike or Adidas or whatever. It may be to where, like, if Slam Magazine comes to a kid and plays and says, we'll put T-shirts with your likeness on Slam Magazine's website and sell it, then we don't know. Like I said, this is also new, and we got to see how it plays out. And we're definitely going to see some limits set. You know what I mean?
Well, I tell you, I think we also going to see a lot of sharks in the water too, because I've even been seeing lately that there's a lot of organizations already set up, like, we can get you, all these out of the wood, new companies talking about how they can get you endorsement deals, come through us, we can get you to certain athletes. It's like these pop-up shop overnights.
I've already gotten calls from some of those sharks that want me to try and introduce them to people, and I'm like, dude, I don't give out my phone number.
That's right.
You want to call me? You better be Mr. Gates, the author. I give him my number, but you better.
Right.
I want to talk to Will Gates. I talk to him all the time.
I talk to him.
Put that effort in, bro. Don't come to me.
That's right.
Awkward thing. The whole time I worked with Shaq, and people would be like, I remember one guy told me, I got a company that makes farm fresh eggs or something like that. I need you to put me in touch with Shaq. I know you work with him. I was like, no. Like, you and your free-range chickens, beat it.
Right. But
let me ask him this, Will. Hey, Dallas, being a creative person that you are, where do you draw inspirations from? Like I'm looking at that painting right behind you on the wall.
That's my son's painting. My son did that. Yeah, my 7-year-old son. That's him.
I like that.
Yeah,
7 years. We did on Father's Day together.
Oh, that's beautiful, man.
Yeah, that little dude. I'm telling you, if he ain't gonna be a baseball player, he can be a world famous artist. Whatever you want to do, I'm back.
Absolutely.
I'm back.
So where do you draw the inspiration from to create?
It's interesting because when I first started, it was definitely, stuff like cars and things of that nature. As I grew, I started getting it from just experiences. And when I say experiences, like I could walk down the street and see a flash of something and I would think. And then that turned into the technical aspect of it. It turned into like, okay, I would get what you call a brief. And they would tell you the shoe needs to be $50. It needs to be about this, this, and this. That is the worst thing you can ever do to an artist, is give him a brief and tell him what to do.
And limits.
And then, like I said, I sat down with Lance and I had to design a Jordan for N1 that wasn't a Jordan. Every situation is different. And I, like right now I'm sitting here and I'm looking at another painting that I did of Kobe. And it inspired me to design like a little Kobe shoe. I sketched it out and then I turned that into another like Adidas type shoe. So it just all depends. I can't say it's cars anymore, or I can't say it's buildings and architecture. I get a little bit of that in my stuff too, but it's really about what I think the consumer is looking for or needs, in their life. Like we just said, this $250 mesh basketball craze, it ain't what's going on. So when I design, I try and put enough leather in it, like around the ankle area, and then maybe the front of it can be, the mesh thing. Because kids, when you go see them play, they're usually not hooping in the new stuff. They're hooping in the old stuff.
Yep. All the time.
Yeah, there's a reason for that because, they have to wear those shoes not only during the game, but they got to wear those shoes sometimes in life. Most times you get a pair to play in or whatever, but that ain't every kid. You know what I mean? And every kid can't be in a program where they walk into a locker room and there's shoes on the thing. There's shoes on the locker, from Nike or Adidas or Reebok. So,
hey, Dallas, I was told that Michael Jordan wore a brand new pair of sneakers every game.
So, sometimes I was told 2 different pairs of sneakers every game.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah, I know athletes that were going through like 2 pairs of shoes every game, like easily.
Okay.
Easily.
Now, y'all both got to admit, man, it ain't nothing like putting on a fresh pair of kicks and going and hooping it. I don't care what nobody say, man. It still make you run faster and jump higher.
I fucking
man,
will.
listen.
Hey man, you better. Hey man, you got to put a disclaimer on that if you're gonna say that, man. Them shoes didn't make you jump higher and
They
faster.
make
You
you
just
run
felt
faster and jump higher, man. I'm telling you,
you
man.
just
That's what they
felt
did.
so good. You just felt so good.
Listen. Let me clear that up. The shoes, and I got a funny story about that. It was the shoes take away things like weight, which will give you more speed, or the shoe is crafted so that you turn a certain way and then you can get back into the angle and go. At the end of the day, if you ain't a good athlete, you're just not a good athlete. Like, that's just the way it goes.
That's just the way it goes, huh?
I was talking to one athlete. This dude like 7 feet tall, 260 pounds and everything. He picks up the shoe and he goes, "It's a little heavy." And I was like, "Well, work out." I remember I went to go see one athlete, and this was the saddest thing I ever saw. He had a growth in the bottom of his foot that was the size of a golf ball.
Oh,
so
man.
we had to cut holes in the bottom of his shoe to allow the pressure to be relieved so they wouldn't keep getting this growth. And it was the size of a golf ball. It was ridiculous. Wow. I mean, and then I was like, when he showed it to us and everything, I was like, "Yo, man, what the hell are you playing in? Like, what shoes are you wearing?" And he went upstairs and he got a shoe that me, like, I don't know, maybe I'm 170, 5 pounds at the time. I was 160 whatever pounds at the time. That shoe wasn't even good enough for me to wear. Wow. Because it was made the way it's made. See, back in the day, Nike used to do like flight, force, up tempo. You could switch it up depending on how you played and how your body was. Now, everybody want to wear Kobe's shoe because it's a low cut and Kobe's wearing it, so they think that's the secret to the whole thing. It's like, no, what's may not be good for everybody.
Right.
Y'all know what the secret sauce is, man. Y'all know the secret sauce is a brand new pair of shoes that make you run faster, jump higher, and play better.
If I'm training a kid in the gym, Dallas Will, I look at him, I say, "You know what? You got on them shoes now." Tony Parker had them shoes in the same championship game in San Antonio, and he won. What is you out here doing? Right. you know what I'm saying? Like, go speaking what you said. Well, do some work.
Yeah, your calves need milk.
Yeah, you right about that, man. You right about that. At the end of the day, your game better match them shoes. At the end of the day,
man.
What Mike used to tell him? What Mike used to tell him? Don't embarrass me in my shoes.
Yeah,
I heard him say that.
Don't put them back on no more, man. Don't you ever come out here in my shoes. I heard Mike say that to many cats. But Dallas, we want to go into this last section, man, where we just want to know about this new venture you in now, because you're now ball in is family, but you're more than family now. You part of the ownership, in a sense, team now. So give us the lowdown on balling and what's that's all about.
I guess that's the first surprise because I haven't really put it out there that I'm part owner now. So
well, I know some things, man. I talked to some people, man.
We'll keep his ear to the street.
Yeah.
It's all good. From going to the first employee to an owner is just incredible. I tell everybody I'm the creative director, but I also do own a percentage of the company now, and that's a great feeling. The beautiful thing about balling is we're taking all of the lessons that we collectively have learned in this business over the years, and we're using that in order to shape and form the direction of the company. One of the hardest things that we have as a Black-owned brand is just coming up with the finances in order to properly push our product, and things of that nature. But, the guys at the NBA have been more than great. NBA Labs and NBA have been more than gracious in helping us, get our message out. The NBA is going to help us even more when it comes out. So they retweeting us and things of that nature. But we got all 30 teams, teams. And Nike's been gracious also. They've been giving us a few of their, city graphics. So, like this shirt this is Brooklyn, but, we're going to have different styles and different teams. So that's just a blessing and a dream come true to be able to say that. Also, one of the things that we all are working on collectively, which is very close to my heart, is the CHC. I mean, which is Chicago hoop culture. You know, for us coming from Chicago to be able to be even in a conversation about building something for the kids, you know, to honor not only, you know, current ball players, but basketball players of Chicago's past and their culture, you know, and then being able to bring kids down and do sessions with them. Like, you guys can teach them basketball. I can teach them basketball shoes and how to draw that. And you know, having the city, you know, just be represented. Man, I can't, like, you know, I can't. Some days I wake up and I'm just like, wow, you know, that's
right.
That's the thing. And then I've been working with Target a little bit, helping them get Black-owned brands into Target. So, you know, that's a great feeling, and I'm just at a happy space and time right now.
That's beautiful.
You know, being at the age I am now and having the experience that I had in the past is going to really help give something to this thing that we're all working on together. You know, and we all have the connections and the arms reach to really help. You know what I mean? And that's why I said, like, with even balling, we'll be upstairs doing the like, you know, high end stuff and all of that, but we're gonna find a way to get into these other retailers in order for a kid to be able, a kid's parent to be able to put something on their back that they don't have to be ashamed of. You know, that was the beauty of Protege. You know, kids got teased, some of them did, of course, but, you know, for the most part, we were accepted. And you know, that was cool. Even if you didn't like our shoes, you know, I was the first person to put "I'm a Beast" on a shirt. And then Nike had a whole Beast division, and it got crazy. I was like, yo, this is like dope, because it gave the kid that was wearing this that confidence and that feeling. So
yeah.
That's
what I always say, man. I always say, like, the sneaker culture, certain clothes, it's a, you know, when it has a certain, it evokes a certain meaning to certain people. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, it's inevitable that you can see it.
Yeah, I mean, I can remember, like you say, getting them Jordans and thinking I could jump higher, but I remember getting them and really just like feeling more important. You know what I mean? Yep. I'm running around, and most people, we had Jabot jeans and Jordans, and you only had 3 colors of either one.
Well. You remember that was a period we kind of jumped out of Jabots, and I admit I went through that Martin phase. I was wearing them cross colors too. Now,
look how great that was. We were buying cross colors, and that was Black people. You know, that was African colors and Black designers, and Carl Kanai came in, April Walker with the Walker wear. It was a great, great time.
And don't forget, Agee boys came on the scene during that time. Who's your boys? The FUBU boys, the Agee guys there.
Oh, the FUBU guys.
So, man, I love what you're doing with the Black-owned business, man. The creative side. That's why I'm so excited, man, about what's to come, because we just don't see a lot of it, and we need to see more of it. You know, my son was just talking about that the other day. He said, "Dad, you know, it's so difficult sometimes to be in a room and having to negotiate and talk and work all the time with folks that just are not your, you know, representation of you." You know, he said, and so we need more of our representation out there, man. So I appreciate what you're doing, man. That's amazing. The Dallas story is definitely not over, but we got 2 more questions for you. One coming from me, and then one coming from my guy Agee. He gonna hit you with that last impactful question. But I know you still watch sports and do your things, man. But right now, who the guys you watching? Who is Dallas Stokes? Like, that's must-see TV for me.
Boston Celtics.
Boston Celtics.
Everybody knows I'm a Celtic man. It's gonna be rough these next couple of years with Tatum and Brown, and I even love Taco, man. I've been so mad Taco don't get to play, man. Like my God, man.
Taco Fall, man, that boy.
Yeah, man. Coach Brad then went upstairs and he then brought the Udoka boy in, and I got nothing but respect for him. But going to be hard, but I have a great love for the Boston Celtics because of being around this league and seeing the way they treat their players after their players leave. They make sure that most of them are taken care of properly. You know, a lot of teams don't do that. And then the historical aspects of how the Boston Celtics and Red Auerbach and all those guys, you know, played a part in the civil rights movement and you know, and we're in the toughest, most racist city behind Chicago, you know, and they looked out for Mr. Russell. And then Mr. Russell is one who I think does not get the respect as being a great, you know, whether it be the time period or not, you go out and try and get a chip. And you see how easy it is. I don't care if it's 1945. I don't care if it's 1995, 2025. You see how easy it is just to get a chip at a church league. And then you can talk to me about who's great and who's not great. Hell, I tell people all the time, Robert Horry got more chips than Jordan. So does that mean he's better than Jordan? No, but he's doing something right. You know, I want him on my team. You know what I mean? So
you got that right.
I got to watch my Celtics. I'm kind of off the football, man, because, you know, the things that happened over the last couple of years. So I've been kind of off the football. But yeah, that's about it.
No love for the shot, huh?
Hey man, listen, I'm keeping 100 with you, man. I don't know what the Reinsdorfs and Paxsons and who. You can't just keep putting garbage like that out, man. That's just ridiculous. Like that's like Charles Barkley said. That's ridiculous. Like that.
I think they have an itinerary that they stick with, and I think it hasn't changed in over 15 years.
Oh yeah. It's a very outdated thing, and they're still trying to live off the glory of when they had the great players that they had, and they screwed that up.
And they screwed that up. Yeah,
they sure enough did.
I mean,
pushed out.
Most of those guys supposed to have front office positions. You think about it. You know, Tony Kukoc. I mean, come on, man. Scottie Pippen. I mean, you got Randy Brown. Come on, man. B.J. Armstrong. I mean, these guys have the brains and the know-how of what to bring into this organization and how to draft and how to scout. Like, I think these guys would know that.
Lived in the city. They have the experience of the city. So they know the kind of temperament that's needed to be there. You know, like when Michael said in The Last Dance, when he came back, everybody was living off the rings he got before. He gotten everybody's behind, and they got all but heard about it. But, you know, look, man, this ain't that. That was then. This is now. What are you doing now? And the Bulls just seem like an organization that are okay with the revenue they get in from being the Bulls. And they're not giving me anything on that floor that makes me want to tune in.
Well, peep this, Dallas. This is our last question, man. And we usually, well, you already answered it, but it's usually we ask you what's the next chapter in your hoop dream. But you already told us, so I'm going to switch it up just for you. From your walks of life of creativity, I want this question to be for our younger audience, for someone to get inspired by your words. How would you tell them if someone had a dream to go after something in the creative space, in the arts, illustration, just in that whole creative space, because you a guy that listened to his inner self and went for his, you know, his creative flow. And look where it's ended up you now. What kind of words can you give our younger audience on living that, going after their creative hoop dream and seeing it through?
It's like I tell, because I talk to kids all the time and things of that nature in groups, and I tell them all the time, know the business before you get into business. You know what I'm saying? Understand the business. I think that's very important. I think a lot of kids get out and want to be rappers, and then they put their music out there and they're not protected legally, and then their music can get stolen and things of that nature. You have kids that send in they used to send in countless shoe designs, and I would literally see them being stolen. Now these kids are drawing stuff on the internet, putting it on their site, and the same vultures are looking at it and they're going, oh yeah, we like this, we like that, and that they're not paying the kids. So know the business of what you want to get into. Because at the end of the day, you're going to have those days where it's all fun and it's glorious, and you walk into the shoe store and your shoe is on the wall and you're like, wow, that lasts only so long. I tell young designers all the time, you're only as good as your last shoe. And I mean that. Like, I've learned that. So know the business, keep yourself focused, and learn your craft. Because at the end of the day, you're only going to have a certain amount of time where you're a star in your business. Then you're either going to fall off and die, or die and become a star again, but you ain't there to see it. So you got to protect yourself. There ain't no pensions in this game. There ain't nobody's going to be looking out for you once you get a certain age. Think about it. I'm 45 now. I don't know or really think about what an 18-year-old kid does or likes to do or whatever. The only reason why I know is because I have my children and they bounce off me. Like right now, I got to play Fortnite every day.
I got to play Fortnite every day.
But in playing Fortnite, that's helping me to understand how to incentivize children into another deal that I'm doing, because they love it. Because it's an incentivized system, and the way that those guys incentivize the children is incredible. So I'm looking into those things to put it into another business deal that has nothing to do with video games. So yeah, just keep your head on the swivel and learn as much as you can. I mean, really, truly.
So kids, you heard that from B. Dallas. Whatever business you want to get in, know the business and understand it first before you jump into it.
Yeah. I don't know how many guys tell me, oh, I'm starting my brand. Then I go and I look and their t-shirts are online and stuff. And I'd be like, well, you got your trademark, right? What? Your trademark.
What's that?
You want me to help you get this to Foot Locker, but you don't even own it.
Right.
You don't even own it.
Right, Foot Locker on it.
Okay. You don't even know somebody already owns it. Like, somebody could already own that hat you said that has game on it. If we put this Game 7 hat together, we don't check and see if that thing is open, man, we're getting sued.
And it's a simple process, man. Just follow it. But Dallas, man, thank you so much, man, for being a part of this podcast, man. You don't know how special this was, man. I was looking forward to this, man, because your history, man, is so real, so tight. And of course, man, being from Chi.
How many times do we get to talk to a creative sneaker inventor, a maker from Chicago?
Like I said, the night all three of us got on the phone, I was telling y'all, I was like, man, this is unbelievable. I've been around Shaq, Kobe, all kind of people. I was like, now I got Arthur Agee. Will Gates, this ain't happening. Like, and then to be able to know you guys and hang out with you guys and be on a normal level with you guys, I appreciate it so much, man. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm the gold of my era. I've been a trending topic. I'm as fly as a feather. My pocket's macroscopic. See, with time I get better. I'm always in the action, kid. Know I got it locked from Chicago where the toughest live. Concrete jungle, earn my stripes on the pavement there. You make it here, then you can make it anywhere. No comparison. Your game is embarrassing. No one can touch me. I'm all for going there again. Yeah, I think I'm ballin' like I'm Will Gates. I'm hoop dreaming, trying to fight against a sealed fate. More faith, think I'm ballin' like I'm Arthur Agee. I'm box office and one day they gon' have to pay me. Yeah, I think I'm ballin' like I'm Will Gates. I'm hoop dreaming, trying to fight against a sealed fate. More faith, think I'm ballin' like I'm Arthur Agee. I'm box office and one day.
Hoop Dreams, the podcast, an Unlearning Network production. Written and produced by Arthur Agee, Will Gates, Matt Hoffer, and Chantel Shan, with audio engineering by Matt Savage. For more episodes, check us out at www.unlearningnetwork.com.
The money getters, gotta be a dog to survive in this cold weather. Ice in my veins, no need for a warm sweater. I'm coming for it all, best believe I won't let up, yeah. Hey, I think I'm ballin' like I'm Will Gates. I'm hoop dreaming, trying to fight against a sealed fate. More faith, think I'm ballin' like I'm Arthur Agee. I'm box office and one day they gon' have to pay me. Yeah, I think I'm ballin' like I'm Will Gates. I'm hoop dreaming, trying to fight against a sealed fate. More faith, think I'm ballin' like I'm Arthur Agee. I'm box office and one day they gon' have to pay me. Yeah.